Look, it's undeniable that I love Nintendo. I'm obsessed with the Switch. I have a whole channel dedicated to it. My life is dedicated to it. But I have to acknowledge that Nintendo made one huge mistake this generation. One critical failure, and today is the day that really proves it. So I want to talk to y'all about it and see what you think. Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. I want y'all also to guess my cat's name. Winner gets a prize. We'll figure out what the prize is, but let me know in the comments down below what you think my brand new baby kitten's name is. It is a boy. It is a Balinese cat. I will give you that. That's all you got to go off of. Guess away. And now on with the show and news. We also will be streaming Princess Peach Showtime tomorrow morning, bright and early. That's Thursday morning. I'll be playing it early for you, seeing what the princess can do besides cook and cowboy. It should be a lot of fun. Might start off easy, but I think we'll find a lot of enjoyment. So make sure to check my channel tomorrow morning. And also you can check out some new Smash Bros. Spirits. This game is really winding down, but they're bringing new spirits from Princess Peach Showtime and Super Mario Bros. Wonder on March 22nd for 5 days. If you're into the spirit collecting, if you're into the 100%ing, this is a great way to get two awesome recent releases onto your Smash Brothers cartridge. But now, let's go to the dark side. Like I said, I love Nintendo. I think they've made huge strides this generation, amazing moves, and for the most part, done very right by fans, right? They've released huge upgrades in almost all of their franchises. They have built out their online infrastructure to something sustainable and something that offers value and I think is the best value of any of the online services. They have sold tons of their consoles. They've kept the games coming. They've encouraged third-party support. They've built out their indie catalog, and they have released some of the best Zelda, Marios, and more we could possibly imagine. But there's one major error. And no, it's not that this generation has gone on too long, even though I do wish we had a Switch 2. And no, it's not that they only put out one 3D Mario game on this platform, because I thought 3D World plus Bowser's Fury was an interesting side experiment. And I actually think it's kind of really exciting and fun that they've been saving all of their goodies for the next 3D Mario on the next console to make it an even bigger, more momentous release. In a lot of ways, Tears of the Kingdom was kind of like Breath of the Wild 1.5, and I'm excited to see if they can truly do a brand new take on 3D Mario that isn't Odyssey 1.5, which I think is what we would have got if we got another Switch version of the 3D mainline series. It's not that the Pokemon games performed poorly, and it's not that Donkey Kong has not been released. It's definitely not that they somehow made a bad system or that the Joy-Con drifted, even though that is annoying. It's March 20th, 2024, 4 years after the launch of Animal Crossing New Horizons, and they completely screwed it up. I can't believe it's the 4-year anniversary. I remember 4 years ago, the world, the channel, my life, everything was in a very different place and a very different shape. My Animal Crossing copy got delivered and I grabbed it with the gloves off the front porch because I was freaked out about the pandemic. And then I sat inside and played the game and obsessed over learning about what this is as I really dived into an Animal Crossing for the first time. We all pretty much dived in. The game became massive, it became a global phenomenon, and for a lot of people, it was a soothsayer. It helped reduce anxiety, reduce fear, and build connections even when the world felt very broken. But then Nintendo broke it. They stopped supporting it. They took one game that had made momentous strides, hugely surpassed any of its predecessors, and didn't do anything much with it. Sure, there was a lot of interesting events surrounding the game, but ask yourself, how many of those cool events Nintendo actually was responsible for? Think about your favorite memories with Animal Crossing New Horizons. Designing cool clothes, visiting someone else's island, watching an epic live stream, taking part in a cool race or a cool obstacle course that a YouTube creator designed, watching an awesome collaboration between your favorite brand and Animal Crossing New Horizons, visiting an island that your favorite cool company made in the game. None of these things were really designed by Nintendo. They made the game, yes, we'll give them credit for that, and they did bring in some events throughout the first year. They also introduced a 2.0 update that was quite substantial, and they brought in the Sanrio cards that were rehashes of old cards, as well as a new series of Animal Crossing cards that did feature new villagers. But outside of that, they dropped the ball. Happy Home Paradise, great addition. Super awesome that it's part of Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack. Love that a lot. 2 years though, and they said sayonara. You have a game that is life-changing, a game that is franchise-changing, a game that is really one of the defining factors of Nintendo Switch, and they did not support it. Now let's compare that to the other massive seller on Nintendo Switch, a game that wasn't even made for Switch, and how they supported that. This shows you that Nintendo is capable of supporting these titles. It shows you that Nintendo knows how to support these titles, and it shows what happens when Nintendo actually invests in one of its games. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was a +1 version of Mario Kart 8 on Wii U. The Wii U was a stinker, it didn't sell as many copies as it could have. Nintendo wanted to bounce back from that and provide an awesome early multiplayer online title for the Switch's launch window library. They did it, and then they didn't stop. They had all the DLC from the original game, they built out a great package, and they supported it with online multiplayer, but then they introduced the Course Booster Pass. And the Course Booster Pass kept this game going years beyond where it initially could have gone. I still think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe would have sold well, but it has stayed in the upper echelon and stayed pushing that number, that peak, that ceiling, because of the Course Booster Pass. And even if it didn't generate new sales, it absolutely surprised and delighted the fans who had already paid the money and invested in the cartridge. Mario Kart's Course Booster Pass added double the tracks. It expanded the game ×2. It basically was a whole new Mario Kart worth of tracks in the same game. They said, hey, rather than save all these tracks for the next Mario Kart and coast until that one releases, we're going to put the pedal to the metal and deliver a double pack. Now, Animal Crossing New Horizons did no such thing. They brought back old content and refreshed it and redolled it up to be new. 2.0 was an exciting update, and Happy Home Paradise stands on its own just fine. But most of the content brought back into New Horizons was actually content from older games recycled, upcycled, and re-brought back into this title. Maybe even content that should have been there initially. Was there really a big addition of brand new, exciting, evolutionary content? Did they really say, hey, this game sold so well, it meant so much to people, and fans are loving it, we're going to do everything we can to expand. We're going to bring in new villagers. We're going to bring in a bunch of different new series of cards. We're going to do official collaborations. We're going to design new special bespoke islands. You ever visit Nintendo's island? It kind of sucks. Their own island, representative of what they can do in the game, what they believe the design philosophy of this title can be, what user-generated content can look to say, wow, that's what you can do. It stunk. Nintendo never really seemed to invest in Animal Crossing New Horizons in any significant way. Rather, they were super delighted that it sold super well, and they decided to keep the game very, very insular. It is a game that you're meant to play over and over, and it is a game that does not really evolve. In fact, all of the events are the same year by year by year. And the first year was so great when it was new, when it was interesting. And Nintendo might argue that Animal Crossing is supposed to be repeated. Animal Crossing is supposed to be comfortable. Animal Crossing is supposed to be reliable and build out a routine, and that's fine. You can do that. But the two are not mutually exclusive. You can have a routine-based game that stays true to its core while also adding new features, supporting and delivering new content to keep players coming back for more. Nintendo feels greedy, and Nintendo feels silly and frankly dumb for not supporting this game, for not building on an audience that was eager and so excited for more. Yes, many players still continue to play, designing their islands, adding new items, and trying to figure out how to make pixel art themselves, but many also dropped off. The game doesn't really have a ton of content besides designing your own island. There aren't any quests really beyond the first few hours, there isn't any main hub to visit, and the added content like Brewster's Cafe, while very fun, and I love Brewster, you know that, is it really a long-standing replayable piece of content? I think it's not. And I think that the amount of effort and money that would have gone into supporting this game would have been relatively low in comparison to other pieces of content. Splatoon 3 gets a whole new mode. Splatoon 3 has Splatfest still regularly. Splatoon has gotten plenty of support. Mario Kart got plenty of support. And Animal Crossing being a interactive, multiplayer, evolutionary experience, and by that I mean it should be evolving, it just doesn't evolve. It's as close to a games as service as Nintendo gets, but they don't do any of the good stuff, nor the bad, I'll give them that. Animal Crossing, you can buy it once and enjoy it forevermore, repeating and repeating itself as the calendar days turn by. But this was a momentous game, and it still will be looked upon as a fun, favorable, exciting experience, but it could have been so much more. They could have done so much more, and they really should have done so much more. I think when we look back at the Switch generation, all 8 years in hindsight, once the Switch 2 is out, we'll say, wow, This was one of Nintendo's most incredible eras, maybe even their very best. The game's library is stellar, the release cadence was better than ever, and there was so much enthusiasm, good feelings, epic mindshare, and awesome interest, always anticipating the next direct, the next release, and what Nintendo could come up with for the next new gameplay innovation. They delivered in Mario, they delivered in Zelda, they delivered in Splatoon, they delivered in so many franchises, bringing mixes of old with new. And Animal Crossing New Horizons did attempt a few new things, like terraforming, but it was very reserved. It was very cautious. And then they abandoned it. And even if they were to just introduce new content, which wasn't evolutionary, but just at least provided new reasons to come back to the game, I would have been very grateful. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. I understand that Animal Crossing sometimes is not going for that. Zelda wanted to truly evolve. Maybe Animal Crossing doesn't. Maybe it doesn't need to evolve. Maybe it just needs more content. How hard would it have been to design 6 new villagers? How hard would it have been to design a new Mayday maze? How hard would it have been to add in a few fun things? Regular weekly items. Just copy and paste the things from Animal Crossing Pocket Camp into Animal Crossing New Horizons. It worked wonderfully for Mario Kart. They took courses from Tour and brought them into 8 Deluxe. It wasn't viewed as lazy, it was viewed as new content that they coupled with exciting brand new content and brought back content from old games as well. Animal Crossing could have done even that. They could have introduced more features from past games, more villagers, more characters, and NPCs, but they opted to do nothing. And I think this will go down as the one major black mark on the Switch era, which is that their biggest hit, outside of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which didn't originate on Switch, but the biggest hit on the Nintendo Switch, the biggest new game, support was almost non-existent after the first year and a half. They really just said, oops, we got nothing. And would it have been difficult? Would it have been that hard? Couldn't they have just kept a few people designing villagers, porting content over, releasing new items? Just use a freaking algorithm to design furniture for us for all I care. Mix up the events. Make a few new things happen. Take advantage of a huge excited base that wants to play your game but isn't given much reason to. It's sad that they could have done so much and yet we would have been happy with so little. And instead we got a harsh line. They took scissors to the game and said, this is the mark of no return. Cut it off. It's done. Anything would have been better than nothing. And if you pie in the sky think of what they could have done, it's so demoralizing. They could have been epic. We would have taken even okay. Instead, we got zilch. And I think it really stinks. And on the 4-year anniversary of Animal Crossing, I cannot believe that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe got nearly 7 years of support. And Animal Crossing New Horizons could only muster a year and a half. Let me know your take in the comments down below. If you agree with me, whether you played ACNH or not, I think you can weigh in on if this is a big mistake by Nintendo. And if you can think of any other mistakes they made this generation, I'd love to hear from you. But I can't really think of anything major. There's really not much here that could be considered a huge mistake, except for this one. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. And until next time, SwitchForce out.